out of the state for highly toxic poisons. 70% of our energy, electrical energy, is fossil fuels. We're sprawled all over the place using a lot of oil in the state. My goal is first to reward for saved energy, energy efficiency. Over 70% of our energy produced in electricity goes into the atmosphere as waste. We know how to plan for energy efficiency. That would be a first step. I would use the Public Utilities Commission to set requirements of utilities in the state to be rewarded based upon saved energy, not wasted energy. Right there, what that would do is reverse our wasteful ways, keep billions of dollars recycling in our economy based on housing codes, building codes. Our new power plants of the future are energy efficient. Windows, lighting, motors, refrigerators, air conditioners. So we don't need to build anything. We just need to save energy. And that's a priority. So now we have billions of dollars recycling back into our state's economy. We create 2 to 10 times more jobs. And we set ourselves up towards more sustainable practices where I would now add in capacity. I want buildings, structures like this that we're sitting in and others to be self-reliant first. So we be efficient, then we put in geothermal, we put in solar, then we go to wind, and then we go to crops for energy. I don't want corn to be a primary crop for energy. We need the food crops. Then we want to grow energy crops like alfalfa. We can grow alfalfa, we can grow switchgrass, we can grow sweet sorghum, which is Chinese sugarcane. And sugarcane, everyone knows about Brazil, about growing their crops for energy in Brazil. So what we have is the ability here in Minnesota to become efficient and locally self-reliant in our energy dependency. But we need the will and the courage of leadership to do that, because the dominant parties are beholden to those interests that have gotten us in this crippling condition. And I'm prepared to fight for the state of Minnesota and future generations and try to reverse the problems we're seeing in the atmosphere.
Do you think that Al Gore's An Inconvenient Truth is doing some good in terms of getting people more interested in this issue?
Absolutely. I mean, it's so important that we educate the public on the risks we're facing. Unfortunately, it got to this point, and my concern is, how did it get this far? We've known about these problems in the energy system, which were already a problem from mining alone. The mining for coal is a problem. We're blowing off mountaintops in West Virginia, killing watersheds. You know, it's already tailings we're leaving for many generations from mining. Mining itself for coal and drilling for oil and, you know, gas. All of these fossil fuel dependencies are highly problematic at their source. Now we're dealing with it at the back end where it has become a real problem. So my concern is, how did we allow it to even come to this point? And that's why I want to get to prevention of problems up front. That's the difference between me and most any other candidate running for governor, is I want to prevent problems before we have to clean the mess up and use government taxes and resources to do that.
It is obvious that you really are impassioned about this topic, and I like your ideas a lot. I want to switch gears and talk about health care, because I think most Minnesotans are very, very worried about their premiums going up, maybe choices going down. What do we have? 1 out of 12 Minnesotans does not have health care coverage. And you're proposing universal health care, or backing that concept.
Right.
Are you looking at Canada as a model?
Well, we have a lot of examples. I want to go to a single payer. Single payer, universal coverage. So single payer is the key component here.
When you say that, just tell us in a sentence what that means to you. I bet you're Kip Sullivan's
Kip is great. He is fantastic. He's been a true inspiration.
Here in the Twin Cities.
And he's a true inspiration. You know, Kip has been fantastic for the state. Basically, what it is right now we have multi-payers, insurance companies, HMOs. Single payer, you take out the insurance companies and HMOs. You take out the advertising and the marketing.
So it might be like Medicare,
So what it is basically Medicare or VA or anything like that. We have models. We could take MinCare and make it into a single payer. There's no excuse anymore. I mean, the point is that we can do it. It's not about our ability. We just need to go to a single payer. So you're born with a health card. You go into the doctor or hospital. You have your procedure. They swipe your card, the bill goes to the state pays the doctor or the hospital. Over. You see no paperwork. Every fee is off a set menu.
It sounds wonderful. I think we'd all say, yes, it sounds great. I think people are very worried, how is this going to be paid for?
Well, first, the overhead right now in the existing system is anywhere from 25 to 40% of what people pay in. Right. So we're going to bring that down to 2%. 2%. We go from 25 to 40% overhead in paperwork and marketing and advertising and excess and exorbitant salaries for people who don't deserve it. And we bring that down to 2%. So we have huge savings there.
Are you saying, Ken, 2% because that's what it's costing in countries that are doing this?
Right. Medicare costs about 2% overhead.
Okay.
VA is very low overhead. Canada is about
doable.
2%. Most every other democracy in the world has health care for all their citizens. We're prepared to do that here in Minnesota. And businesses will flock to us once we do it. California is moving in this direction. So right there we have savings. Then what we'll do is paying for it. Well, I'm going to make polluters pay in the state of Minnesota. You're polluting our air and water. You're dumping in our water systems and so on. You're going to pay a lot in Minnesota. So we have a pollution tax in Minnesota. That will go towards helping pay for health care, because health care is not isolated to just the system. But if you dump pollution in the air and the water, then our immune system, our own health is affected by this.
One of the things I read is that, speaking of taxes, that you thought we should tax SUVs at a higher rate because of what you're saying right now.
Right. Highly polluting vehicles will pay more. That's important. The other thing is that we are going to shift our income tax back to 1977 tax brackets, which will make income taxes more progressive. And then we'll create about $5 to $7 billion in revenue right there. So the ability to pay for it is not in question. It's about the will of the public to be a better society, a kinder society, a more thoughtful and healthy society.
I know you've been all over the state and spending, he told me, maybe as much time outstate as in the cities here. How are people responding to the progressive income tax concept? Because that scares some people. Are average people getting your idea, do you think?
Yes.
The idea?
The public wants to know what's happening, because the general public, what we would call the, people that are middle class, what we call, in the middle class, are stressed out right now because of healthcare costs, because of property taxes going up, because they're being forced in an economy that's not reducing the cost of living. Through my plan, what I talk about is reducing the cost of living. Local economies. In energy and agriculture, my plan is to keep billions of dollars recycling in our community, so we have pools of wealth available for basic human needs. And part of this plan is the progressive income tax. And people get it. They feel like they have been gouged and other people have been benefiting at the high end. And it's true. And the dominant political interests are involved in doing this.
We have just a couple minutes left.
Sure.
This has gone really fast. I'd like to have you share with the audience how people can vote if they are not registered. Because, as you and I were saying earlier, you can go to the polls on Election Day and register.
Right. So you have
tell people what they need to bring.
Right. Well, they have same-day registration. You can bring, your license to verify your address. You can also, and a photo ID to verify your address. Also, you can bring a phone bill or an electric bill to verify your address. You can have somebody who can vouch for you.
So if you had someone come with you, Ken, you would not need to have the other identifying information?
Right. Generally, that's true. If somebody says they live with me, I can vouch that they live in this district or this ward or precinct. And also people should check in with the Secretary of State's office and make sure that they understand all the regulations around registering same day.
And you can register ahead of time by going to City Hall or the
Right. There is
I
think a window that you're locked out at a certain point. You cannot register beyond a certain point.
Another point of information, we want to give you the website, and I'm guessing that if you've been listening, your interest is up, and you'd like to read more and learn more.
Yeah.
Well, let me give that to you. It's www.mngreens.org.
Yeah.
We'll put that up on the screen for you. So
And also, just to mention, kenpentel.org. Kenpentel.org is the campaign, my campaign for governor's website, along with Deneen.
And I was telling Ken that you have very detailed explanations of the key issues in terms of what you propose and how you view them. Just in our last minute we have, as a person who deals a lot with the inner person as a social worker, am always wondering how you can keep going when you have a small chance of winning. What motivates you, Ken, to keep running, to keep talking, to keep sharing your ideas?
Well, I think one is that I believe in the people of the state. I've known people for years. I know ways of life that are positive and inspiring. I love the state, and I want to make sure that we take responsibility for our communities and this planet and future generations. And that is just a driving force. It's better to fight and fail than not fight at all for justice, and that's what I'm here for. I care about the state, but I need people to back it. Their votes, I want people to line up their votes with their values, and that gets leverage into the system. All liberation movements need third parties as precursors. End slavery, women's right to vote, labor rights laws, all needed third parties to become successful movements.
Well, thank you so much for coming down and sharing the Green Party's stance and your personal explanation. It's been very, very interesting, Ken.
Thank you
and
so
good
much,
luck.
Mary. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you. We will hopefully see you at the polls. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Dream of a green tomorrow, a green tomorrow. In dreams of a green tomorrow, leaves will touch the sky. Above the flags and borders, the wars and sorrow, a bird of peace can fly. I know the road is dark, sometimes the way is steep. Some days will seem a very slow climb, some nights but an hour to sleep. I know we'll toss, we'll turn and we'll stumble. There will be times we'll fall, yet we can reach beyond the horizon, a better world for all. Dream of a green tomorrow, a green tomorrow. In dreams of a green tomorrow, these will touch the sky. Above the fear and borders, the wars and sorrows.